0% chance I watch it. Whatever's less
I believe
than
that.
zero.
I believe that.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Eliot Shorr-Parks, James Seltzer with you back in person. I'm looking at you, your beautiful face. You've been in
So
Brazil
good to
for
be
like
back.
6 weeks, it feels
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
I thought you were moving there.
It felt like it. It's awesome to be back. It really is. Now, I mean, we could just get right into the Brazil thing. Like, Brazil was unbelievable. Like, for as much as
What if I didn't want to get right into it? What if I was going to save it for later and we would talk about it then?
Then how about jail?
No, go ahead.
I mean, Brazil, I feel like I've talked about it a ton already, but Brazil was truly unbelievable. That being said, there's just nothing like coming home. Like back to Philly, like things I know, my house.
You're a come back home kind of guy. You know, you always need that return. You're not gonna go like move to California and just stay.
No, definitely not. I love Philly. I will stay in Philly more than likely my whole life. So, but no, Brazil I would highly recommend anybody that hasn't been take a trip to Brazil.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It was now the first day I texted you and I was a little like, all right.
I know.
It was a bit of a shock, but it was a ton of fun. Yeah, it's just always good to be home. And I have to tell you the luggage story.
Oh yeah, trust me, we've been waiting for it. I teased it on the solo bot. I was like, oh, we got some Eliot bag stories to hear about.
Boy, oh boy, it did not go well. But I have so many final thoughts still. Like,
how are you going to corral them?
I don't know. There's so many tied together. We'll have to figure it out.
We'll make it work. Best part of the pod.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's talk some birds.
About the Eagles.
So Brazil was great.
Brazil, I don't know if I'll be going back because now they've already been, but fans of Philly absolutely crushed it. I have to tell you too, you'll love this. So many real ones on the trip.
Oh,
just like so many at the tailgate, auto downloader. Actually, let's just start with this, and you'll appreciate this to your core. This really nice guy came up to me. Can't remember. From North Carolina, super nice, auto download, all those things. He had an interesting question, and I'm just going to start the pod.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
More career sacks with the Eagles, Marcus Smith or Nolan Smith?
That's horrible.
I don't know what the Marcus Smith number is. I don't know what the Marcus Smith
number is.
Nolan
Smith. I mean, Marcus Smith is not many. A couple.
I think Marcus Smith is a little more than you think.
I would guess he's like 11.
Well, 11's a lot. You think Nolan Smith
well, I was going to say less, and then you said it's more than I think. I was originally going to guess like 6.
4. It's 4.
See, I was originally going to guess 6.
It's so 4.
Nolan Smith.
You think so?
Do I think he gets more than 4 sacks in his career? I'd be better.
Okay. What would you put the odds on?
I refuse to entertain this question.
Okay. I just thought it was an interesting one from a real one auto down.
Shout out to Guy from North Carolina.
I did a better job remembering people's names though. On the
clearly that's
this was the one. I don't like.
Of course,
it's just hard. Yeah.
What are the odds that the one that you talk about on the pod is the only one that you could not remember though?
Yeah.
I mean,
not great. But he was very nice. But yeah, fans of Philly crushed it. Lots of people asking where our trip is going to be. We have to
get it up.
Tighten that up.
So this week. I mean, like this week we will tighten it up. Let's say next week we'll announce it.
No, I think we should set a goal to announce it by Friday.
You think we could do that?
Well, we have to set a goal eventually.
Okay, so by Thursday that would be because then it'd be the Bet Parks Big Spot on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we're going to announce it on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's set goals for ourselves.
He sounded super confident there.
Yeah,
like,
let's
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're goals guys now.
Yeah, we're goals guys.
Because I
keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep it real here. I've never been a goals guy. Like I know a lot of people like, especially athletes.
Yeah.
What's your goal for the season? What are my sacks you want? Or what's your 5-year plan or whatever? I don't have a plan or goals. So like I just go where the wind takes me. Now there are things I want. Like I wanted to do this for a living. And I've worked to do it. But I never think like I want to be here in this amount of time. Or my goal is to be that. Like I just am kind of doing it.
So I'm a big goal guy in the way that I will like to have success. I feel like I need to write down things. Like I'll be like,
I never in my life, not one time have I ever done this.
But I mean, I didn't write down like I want to work at WIP.
It'll be like people who do
I want to work out 5 times.
I actually think I'm in the minority on this. Is my point. Like I feel like a lot of people do this, and I don't. And I've always felt a little like.
You know where I always feel
the group,
I'm at my most motivated when I'm laying in bed before I go to sleep. Like when I'm laying in bed before I go to sleep, I will lay there and be like, Eliot, you're going to work out so good tomorrow and you're going to do it for 4 straight days. And tomorrow you're going to finally call this person.
And then it's over.
And then I wake up and I'm like, maybe I should
like
just play on Twitter for a little. Yeah. But I'm never more motivated than I am right before I go to bed.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Then I fall asleep and not as much the next day. So it flies. But it's not the best time. Ideally, that would be in the morning.
What a magical time!
I do think coffee has helped me. It does give you a boost.
Look at you! Wow, the guy who finds coffee in his mid-30s.
I mean, the top priority is still that it's cool. But But outside that does serve a function, it seems. I think it could take off.
Yeah.
It could take off.
It could be a thing.
It could be a thing.
All right, let's talk birds. We only had like 20 minutes to react after the game, so we haven't gotten to a lot of it. Let's start with, look, I think Jalen, we did talk about him a bit the night right after the game, but I think, I think there are a lot of people who come out of that game. I think most people come out saying, hey, we want to know that's really good.
Right.
And I'm excited about that. And I kept making the point, I made it on the pod after, I made it on the show the next day, that two fan bases went into that Brazil game with Super Bowl aspirations, hoping for a great season. And I'm super freaking happy I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it could have
gone.
Yeah, the whole thing, losing the game the way they did, the Jordan Love thing, all of it. Like, we could have been them. You know, so I do really feel really good after it. But I think there are a lot of people who come out of that game. And look, we talked about it. We're concerned about some of the mistakes Jalen made. But I think that it's a lot of like, all right, there's the I'm happy to be 1-0. And then there's the I'm concerned about Jalen. And I think there's segments within the fan base right now. Where are you at with the Jalen?
What's just so surprising to me is I thought, we've talked about this. There's three parts of the team I really, really care about: quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. And I left feeling worse about two and better about one. But the one that I feel better about was the one I thought I'd feel the worst about, which is the offensive line.
Yeah, you were most down.
Right.
On
and the offensive line was awesome. Like, even rewatching it, they were really good.
Great.
They were really, really good. So that's definitely encouraging. I can't wrap my head around what I saw from Jalen. I can't. I've rewatched the game twice since then. I've rewatched all the interceptions a bunch of times. I've rewatched the plays where he almost intercepted it. And it's just not the guy I saw in training camp. It's just not. The guy I saw in training camp was so smart with the ball. I mean, everybody said it. Obviously, the 305 straight throws was the big story, and I get that. But like, every single person was saying he's taking better care of the ball. Nick was saying it. The other beat writers, the players, like Darius Slay was saying it. And then to come out and play like he did like that on Friday is wild to me. And my bigger concern is not that it's rust. It's not that it's week one, like, Packers, Brazil.
That this is who
this
Jalen
just might be who he is. And I wonder if the perception that he takes care of the ball is just not correct. Because,
well, hold on. I don't think it's a perception. I think it's that for the first 2 years of his career, here 2 and 3
but he kind of didn't. That's what I'm surprised by.
He was pretty smart with the football. He had some fumble issues, but he didn't throw interceptions those first 2 years. He was smart about not. But then the last year and the first game, he has been incredibly careless with the football. So I don't think people have a perception anymore that he's super careful with the football. I think that's out the window. But I do think that the reason there was that perception was he was pretty good at it the first 2 years.
I felt that way as well. We've talked a lot about how his best quality is he takes care of the ball. It's just
not anymore. There's no question.
It's just like, I can't believe how reckless he's become with it. I'm trying to find my stats here on the turnovers, but like, what Friday night showed was they have so much talent on offense that Jalen just doesn't need to be special. He just needs to take care of the
he
ball.
needs a 10th, 12th best quarterback in football. You could win.
Right. Yeah. So, but if you look at his last 10 games as an Eagles starting quarterback, so week 1 this year, the playoff game, and then the last 8 regular season games before that, he has 11 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions, basically 1-to-1. Like, that's not good enough. Rushing, because then you go, okay, well, he runs the ball.
Now, to be fair, that you are taking it outside of game 1, which is why we're talking about it. Like, the last 8 games last year are the worst Jalen has ever played in the NFL.
Yes, for sure. But I'm saying the most recent sample size.
I get it.
The most recent play of Jalen, 11 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And then I go, well, 11 passing touchdowns, that's a low number, but he runs it in a lot, so that matters. 8 rushing touchdowns over that stretch. And then he has 7 fumbles. Now, to be fair to Jalen, some of those are credited to him, although it's
like the first fumble, I blame Cam more than I blame.
Yeah, and the second one too, like
the second one
for sure. But if you look at it with Jalen at quarterback, over the last 10 games, he has 19 touchdowns and 16 times the ball has hit the ground. It's not.
Well, the interceptions didn't hit the ground.
I'm saying the fumbles.
16 times, right?
Oh yes, true. Okay, my bad.
I get
16 times the ball was in danger.
Put the ball either in the other team's hands or where the other team could
have grabbed it. Yes. And what's frustrating about it is I actually think he threw the ball really well on Friday night. Like, watching it live, I wasn't super impressed with the throw to AJ or Saquon. Rewatching it, those were really good throws. Like, the throw to Saquon, I thought couldn't have placed it any better. It's not as good of a throw, but it reminds me of the Foles touchdown to Corey Clement.
Yeah, not as good a throw.
Just in the way where he puts it exactly where it has to be. Like, he couldn't have handed it to him.
Yeah, the Corey Clement was a tighter window.
Yes, a better throw, but similar in terms of a running back and all those things. The AJ throw, I think in some ways shows where Jalen can be at his best, which is it's not that. I mean, the Anthony Richardson throw was.
That's
it's not
one of the great throws we've
yes,
ever seen.
exactly.
Arguably.
But the point I'm making is it's a great throw in the way that it's a softball. AJ catches it. He can keep running. Like, it's a great throw. It's just the turnovers. And when you look at him, like, so the two he threw, the first one, just a bad read.
Yeah, the second one's the one like what the bleeper you think?
Yeah, throwing it, but
like, what are you thinking?
Watching
Especially
it live,
up 5 in that situation where you can go up 8 with a field goal, like you can't take points off the board there, and to throw it into essentially triple coverage. I mean, just running to his right and just kind of heaves it all across his body into the middle of the end zone. Like,
well,
they were both bad, but that's the one where it's like what went through your brain.
Well, I think the concern for me about the second one is it exposes a little bit that he doesn't have a special arm. Doesn't mean he can't make all the throws. I think he can.
But we knew that.
No, I know, but it just highlights it. Like, because watching it live, and I was actually where the press box was in Brazil, I was dead even with the end zone where AJ was. And live watching it, I was like, oh, wow, AJ is wide open.
So you're saying a different quarterback?
I think a different quarterback puts more on it, and I think that's where Jalen gets in trouble. Is he sometimes
doesn't realize
too much
how
touch on it?
Yeah, that he doesn't.
Yeah, like I was okay with the decision, honestly. I know it's across your body.
Well, again, but you got to know your arm. That's
but you have to get it there
so
if
the
you're going to do it.
decision making is part of all of it,
right?
And you can't take that risk if you can't make that throw.
And I saw like AJ slipped, but AJ slipped because he's adjusting to where the ball is, not because like. So that was a bad one. But a play we're not talking about enough here
is the one that almost got when the AJ. Which one of the one that
two.
could have been the pick six, or
the
one where AJ played defense?
The one where AJ played defense.
The one where AJ played defense was literally thrown to Jair Alexander.
Right to
like
him.
It was to him. It was an insane throw.
And the spot there was horrendous. Like, you talk about the interception that was thrown to AJ where it was almost picked off. That was bad for sure. But this throw, you're up 2 at that point. They're at, I think, their own 45, or they're right around midfield. If that ball is intercepted and AJ doesn't play defense, they probably lose the game because the Packers kill clock. They kick the field goal. Like, they probably lose the game. So I'm not trying to be overly negative here because I do think Jalen had nice moments and they won the game, which matters.
And they put up 34
and they put up 34 points. And I'm just I was
like,
trying
there's only 2 teams that scored more points.
So let me think.
One of them was playing the Panthers. You know?
So I'm just thinking out loud here. So if this ends up being a bad point, just we'll erase it from.
I love
memory.
this.
Yeah. Just when's the last?
You won't actually delete it. You'll hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just pretend it didn't happen.
It would be really funny though if we did
put a large beep.
Yeah. No, it was just like the point, and then it's just like, so what do you think about it?
So here's what I have to say.
Like I was talking about Bryce Humphrey.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Tucker, feel free to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finally, some creative correction.
Yes, finally Tucker gets to put his stamp on the pod. So how many times, like when's the last time since the Super Bowl they won and we left feeling great about Jalen? The Buffalo game?
Yeah, the Buffalo game. That was
right?
exactly in the pop of my head.
It feels like the majority of games that they play now, we sit here and go, didn't play great. But like, and again, I think there's a skill to winning ugly. I do for sure. But it would be nice to see Jalen string some games together where they win and he's awesome. If you look over this 10-game stretch, I think he's had 2 games where his pass rating was above 100 and they lost both of them.
So I feel you. And I think everything you're saying is fair. I'll push back because I do pretty much disagree, like from certain degrees. I think everything you've said about the turnovers and stuff is fair. It's true. It's a concern. I think any Eagles fan who's not at least have a little antenna up on it is deluding themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's something to be concerned about. Here's why I'll put an optimistic spin on it because of how I look at it. First and foremost, and I'm not saying you could just forget last year, but for the purposes of this discussion, new offense, new coordinator, new pieces around him. I'm not going to take last year and put it into this year, even though the turnover thing is part of it. I get it. But if I just look at this game, new year, this game, new system, I can say, hey, it's his first time running the Kellen Moore offense in a meaningful game where there's real bullets flying and all that. It's a lot going on for him. It's the first time he's in charge of calling the blitzes. It's just more to worry about as a quarterback in an NFL game than he has had to yet in his career.
That's a fair point.
So that's part of it. He did a great job with the blitz.
He did.
Like whatever he called out. And to your point, the line was great and they deserve a ton of credit. But like we came in saying like, better figure out the blitz, huh? Most important thing is figure out the blitz. Like they were great against.
And it wasn't even a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
There was almost, I can't think of a single play where I thought, wow, they were unprepared.
Totally. And he was throwing the hot reads. He was, calling it out the line, all type of stuff. So like that's big.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's something we focus so much on the turnovers. We've not given enough credit to that massive thing from last year that it looks like they've done a really nice job in his first opportunity to do it, coming out and doing a good job with that. So
Yeah.
that was a positive that I think we have not harped on
And the
enough.
Packers didn't end up blitzing as much because early on they were
Because they kept stopping it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's part of it. I can't excuse the turnovers and the almost turnovers because, again, they were horrendous decisions. All I could say is, again, the new offense thing, the Brazil of it all, the first game of the season of it all, there's excitement, there's this, there's that. Like, if Jalen, here's what I'm going to say. Game 5, Game 6, 1 month from now, if this is still happening, panic.
Yeah,
like, alert.
concern.
Like,
That's
send,
fair.
like, we'll play a siren on the podcast. We'll actually make Tucker do some work.
Yeah.
And I'm kidding. Tucker is phenomenal. I'm just joking around.
Tucker carries.
Honestly, Tucker was the superstar while you were gone.
Mhm.
That is for damn sure. But we'll put a siren in the pod. I'll be like, alert time, because guess what? There's a problem. But I can't get there yet. I know last year, and you're fair to say last year plus this concerning, and it is. But I can't go too far with that until I give this kid, he's a kid, a chance to, and he is. He's 26 years old. I know I'm 43. I'm just in a couple weeks.
This is now his.
Could be his dad.
This will be his. Not that the fourth year is
17 years older than Jalen Hurts. That's sad.
Isn't that weird? Is also I'll always think the athletes are older. No matter what.
I won't, but I get your point.
By
the way, thank you for Rich Hill being back in baseball. One of the great things that's ever happened.
Oh, is he older than you?
The only person in American professional sports who's older than me. He was not signed on a team this year. He's back. So I'm no longer.
For you. I think
for me, it's big. Yeah, he's 44. Shout out to Rich Hill.
Your birthday's coming up, right?
I know I'm going to be 43 in a couple weeks, buddy. I know.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we'll celebrate. Hopefully with that not a siren. But
yeah, so that's my point.
I think those are all fair points.
Yeah.
He had a lot on his plate for the first time. It's just I thought he showed a lot of similar things to last year.
He looked like that's the problem. And look, he was able to do things that he didn't do last year. It's not fair. I guess he did in the first half. He had big drives at the end.
Yeah.
But he did when it mattered most. He made some massive
100%.
He made some big runs and he moved them down the field and ultimately salted away a game when he had to. Look, Saquon's a big part of that. Don't get me wrong.
But honestly, the final drive, Saquon was not a big part of it. I think Jalen was their best player on the 7.5.
I agree. Him and
now,
Devontae.
He did have the play where he almost threw it away.
Yeah.
He definitely did. But the throws to Devontae were big. I guess we can talk about the whole running thing.
Sure.
I just think he's still an effective runner. He's just not Lamar. He's not super fast. I think we have to view him as a powerful runner.
100%. Joe actually had a great analogy for it. Joe said, I used to think he was a Ferrari and a tank. Now I just think he's a tank. It's a pretty good way to put it. Yeah, you're right. Because I don't care what anyone says. He is not as fast as he used to be. He's just not.
Well, or
now the field is the great equalizer. And we're going to get to the pass rush coming up. We're going to talk about Bryce Huff and the overall caveat with this episode, the field. We get it. It's I'm not going to make season long predictions about the pass rush, about Jalen's ability to run, about any of these guys' ability to run.
The field was bad.
It was horrendous. It was worse than the Super Bowl field, which
it was worse. I agree.
Something.
I agree.
So I'm not going to I don't think anyone could have looked that fast, other than maybe Saquon on that field.
Yeah.
But
Saquon said it took him time to adjust.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You could see it. Saquon fell down a few times. All that type of stuff. So I'm not going to overreact, but he didn't at any point last year look as fast as he did the year before. And this year so far we haven't seen it. So I do think he might have lost a step. I mean, it happens.
So all right. There are 3 topics in sports right now that I can't get worked up about. One, if they should have played more in training camp.
I know where it's coming because and by the way, 100% with you on the training camp.
Don't care.
The whole they should here's what I don't get. Is 8 plays, 10 plays in the preseason when defenses are throwing vanilla stuff, no one's playing that hard. Is that really going to make a massive difference in the season? It's so crazy to me.
And this is my thing too. When people are like, well, he wasn't as prepared because what do you think he's going to get in the preseason?
He's going to get the most
He's going to get vanilla looks. It's not, yes.
And it was, again, we're talking about one drive or something. It's so great. I think it is so over the top.
Well, and
there are people yelling at their podcast right now. But he's trying to play the person.
No, I agree. There's no 100%. And it was funny after the game, and Zach Berman tweeted this, so I feel comfortable saying it. Nick was walking off the podium, and Zach asked him something like, so what would you say to people that said they should play more in the preseason? And he said, I think I'd say 4-0.
And he's right.
Which is right. Which is correct.
4-0.
Yes. And you know what? They had all their starters besides Devin White.
And you go back to last year, it's they started 10-1. Them falling apart had nothing to do with the frickin' preseason.
I agree.
Okay?
Now, the other one that I can't get worked up about is how Jalen looks as a runner.
Well, and we know the third is not running out of ball.
Bryce not running to first. I do not care.
Well, last night he should have. I mean, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, it was a mistake. But I don't think it was a lack of effort is the point I'm making. I think it was a mistake. He thought that ball was gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that is very different than a lack of effort.
I agree.
Yeah. So
I think
I agree. We wouldn't bench him.
I don't think it's because he wasn't trying hard, but he's still wrong. Like he's still
wrong.
Yeah,
he made a mistake. Just like if you drop a ball at first or made a bad read, like it was a mistake.
Yeah. I don't think he was like, I'm not gonna run.
Agreed.
Hard.
I don't think he was standing in the box.
There's no question.
Yeah. So those are my 3 things. But
so the Jalen, so what I get not, and I don't get worked up over it, but you would agree he is not. Do you think of Jalen when you think of him as dynamic a runner as you did 2 years ago? Because I don't.
I don't know if I would go that far as not thinking he's.
You think it's strictly scheme?
I still think he's very effective.
He's effective.
He's effective, but that's what matters more than style.
No, but sure. But the point is
like,
how fast and how good you are. Like there's effective and there's levels of good. I used to think Jalen was a great runner. I used to think he was a great runner, like one of the best I had seen in terms of like maybe not as fast as some other guys, but close. And I thought he was so freaking smart.
I still think he's a great runner.
Now I think he's a good runner.
I still think he's
smart about. He's not great. When was
he doesn't
took off and like flew around like he's.
But I think there's a different. I just think that's different though. Like when you talk about,
I think you're right. He's effective. I don't think he's great.
But effective is great.
No, it's not. I think it is. It's not.
Well,
Lamar Jackson is a great runner.
Yeah, Lamar is maybe him and Vic are maybe the 2 best running quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Jaden Daniels is a great running quarterback.
But, and for what it's worth, let's see if Jaden Daniels takes a lot of big hits.
I agree. That's part of my point. Yes, I think Jalen used to be like that.
But that's what I think. No, but I think Jalen has gotten, like, I don't think he takes a ton of big hits, number 1. Which I think is effective.
No, I think he's smart about it.
And I think he's like when
clearly Nick said it on the show today that they're coaching him to go down. Like that's very clear.
There are very few times where he is running the ball on 3rd down, and let's say they need 7 yards and he's at 4 yards, where he doesn't get the extra 3. But again,
that's like the tank part of it. And I agree with that.
It's a different style. But
I think he's always been able to tank. He used to be a Ferrari. He used to be able to fly around out there, and we have not seen that.
I agree.
All I'm saying.
I agree, but I still think he's a great runner.
I disagree. I think he's a good.
I think he's probably top. How many quarterbacks in the league are better?
But again, it doesn't matter.
But it does when you talk about opposing defense.
Well, even then, I think there might I think a lot are probably better. I mean, like Lamar is better. Kyler Murray's probably a better runner right now. The way he's been going.
Okay. I haven't seen Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is way
better.
Okay,
I'll take your word.
He have like 80 yards and a touchdown rushing the other day.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying
Jalen is very
capable
of getting
much
80 yards
faster and better.
Yeah, and for what's worth, both his touchdowns were from 1
Jaden Daniels is a better runner. Josh Allen, absolutely a better runner. Without a
but
doubt.
again, he is definitely.
But Josh Allen's a special
okay. That's
runner.
4. All right, that's 4.
Yeah, I mean he just is.
Again, like he
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson.
But these guys also take huge hits and fumble the ball all the time. And
you're missing the point. Like, sure, whatever. I'm not saying Jalen should take hits and. I'm saying that he's not as good a runner as those guys, which he's not. Like factually, he's not as fast. He's not as
agree.
Elusive.
If these guys all race,
he's not as good at movement. Like he's just not as dynamic a runner as those guys are.
Right. If they raced him,
a great runner.
But I do think he's a great runner.
No, but he's not anymore, man. He's like a Trevor Lawrence. He's like, he can get you some yards when he needs it.
Trevor Lawrence.
Better, but I like Trevor Lawrence can move a bit. Like,
yeah, but Jalen.
When was the last time you watched Jalen? You're like, wow, that was fast.
Except I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters.
But of course it does. What are you talking about? Why is Tyreek the best wide receiver in football?
Yes, but
because he's freaking fast.
Of course.
What are you talking about?
But it matters there more.
Speed matters at any position in the sport. That's why they run 40s. That's why they test these guys.
He is not as fast as he used to be. I agree.
That's my whole point.
But he's still. I agree. But he's still a great runner.
No, I think he's a good runner.
Okay, so we're arguing good versus great here. That's the core.
Semantics,
right?
Yes, but
I agree with you on the
you're
style.
Wrong that he's not great anymore. I think he used to be a great runner, and I don't think he is anymore. I think that's part of what we got to accept. That he has to be better as a quarterback because he's not as good a runner as he used to be.
I just don't fully agree with you on that.
Okay, we can disagree.
That's fine.
I think it's pretty factual. Though.
No, but I agree with you. He is not as fast and stylistically as good. I agree with you with that. So I'm just saying he still gets the job done. Lots of times. We just talked about the final drive.
90% of his runs are him running the side and falling down because there's nowhere for him to go.
But when he has to get
by people,
right? But when he has to get the yards, he gets them. So to me, that is
drive he got the yards.
No, I think there's a pretty long track record of him like barreling through to get extra.
Again, mostly in 2022 and early last year, but we have not seen that for a while. That's the point.
I agree. Like the runs he had against the Saints his rookie year or whatever, like he's not doing those anymore.
2022,
that I agree with.
Any of that anymore.
I agree with that.
Super Bowl, the way
or against the Vikings,
we don't see any of that stuff anymore.
Agreed.
Like he runs less and he runs worse.
But I do think it is by choice. Because again, I see him in practice.
Nick Sirianni
physically.
told us on the
show.
Yeah. I do think it's by choice, yes, but at the same and by coaching. But again, even if they were like, Jalen, run as much as you want, he doesn't have quite the same burst. Like, he's lost a bit of a step. Like, or at least
I agree. He's not as
seen him
100%. He's not as fast as he used to be.
Okay.
The last thing I'll say before we move to the defense quickly is, while I do think it's okay to win ugly, and I think there is something good about that, and I am ready to see this team string together some impressive
Well,
games.
especially like the Falcons. Like, I watched that entire game.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. They're not good. They're just not a good team.
The Eagles are so much more talented.
Yes,
they should throttle this.
Yes. Like, I need to leave 2 or 3 games in a row where it's like, okay.
I need like a 31-10. I need a 20.
Or just play well. Like, I will always feel as good as I feel about Jalen. That's just how I am with it. Like, and I need to see Jalen play better.
Yeah, agree. We're both on the same page.
Because I saw him in training camp. He was awesome in training camp. I'm not giving up on that. I need a few weeks in a row of good play from him.
And again, I think that the first game in the new system and
I think those are all fair points.
Yeah, he just needs to not. When you think about that, especially that second interception, like, it goes back to what we heard in that Tim McManus article, where it felt like he was trying to make $250 million with every throw. Like, that felt like a throw where it's like, I'm trying to prove my contract.
And he was wide open. Like, I don't hate the read. It was just the
But if you
throw.
can't make the throw,
I agree. No, you have to. If you're going to do it, you have to make the throw.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
And running to your right across your body in the middle end zone, not a smart throw. Like, even if the guy's open, that's not smart.
I agree.
And he needs to be smart, especially with this offense. Because, like, honestly, it's almost too simple. But if Jalen protects the football, they're going to maybe be the best offense in football.
100% agree.
One of the 2 or 3 best. Like, they're that talented. We saw it. That was the main thing that stuck out to me from the Brazil game was, holy crap, this skill group is better than advertised.
Honestly,
which is the highest we've ever advertised.
If you told me Jalen would only turn the ball over once per game the rest of the season, I would take it.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's the 5 plays where it's risky and like that's what's going to kill him.
I couldn't agree more. All right, we'll get to the defense in a sec, but first, Mike Quick, Seth Joyner, Jody Mack, Rob Ellis, what a
power
group.
lineup.
Joe Conklin, and of course, us, yours truly, the 2 names that don't belong on that list: Eliot Shorr-Parks, James Seltzer. This is the Bet Parks lineup. Bet Parks is the official sportsbook and the only online casino of Go Birds. It's the only sportsbook app and online casino app that we use, that we recommend. Bet Parks has an amazing kickoff offer for new customers. Get this. First, of course, you can bet on all the games. Bet Parks Picks Pod.
Yeah.
I need Stokes and Ned to chime in because I don't know how I did, but I'm pretty damn sure.
I know. My bad not getting my picks in. You feel good or bad about how
I think I kicked ass.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Did
you take the Eagles?
Yeah, I took the Eagles.
Okay.
I took the Eagles. No, I did it on Friday. I did take the Chiefs the night before. No one believed me, but I did. I swear I bet on it on the Bet Parks app, but no big deal. But yeah, I was on fire. I felt like I was on fire. Now Stokes and Ned will tell me I went like 9-8.
Well, Stokes and Ned won their fantasy game.
They did.
They did.
Good. Shout out.
Yeah. But yes, we need them to see how you did.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, it doesn't matter because my picks weren't in, so it'd be more of a moral victory.
It'd be a moral victory, but
you could do percentage if you want for the year.
It's
potentially.
Fine. It's fine. Unless I did great, then we'll do percentage.
Okay, exactly. Then you'll fight for it. Yeah.
So get in. You can bet with us. Bet it. Have fun with it. We'll do the parlay moving forward. Ellie wasn't here. We're gonna do the parlay. All the good stuff. But listen to this. Listen to this amazing offer for new customers. Get a 50-1 odds boost on your pick to win this year's Pro Football Championship from the Bet Parks Sportsbook and online casino app. New users, sign up now, make a deposit, and receive a 50-1 super odds boost. BetParks.com has all the terms and conditions. Obviously, Kansas City, San Fran, we saw a win last night. They might be a contender. Baltimore, Detroit, Philadelphia, of course, and so many more of the favorites. You can bet on whatever you want. Download the Bet Parks Sportsbook and online casino app now and get your 50-1 super odds boost. Plus, enjoy casino action 24/7, live dealers right in the palm of your hand, plus more. Again, this is a limited time offer for new customers only. The 50-1 super odds boost from Bet Parks. It must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Go on, Andrew Gambler.
So I'm walking down the streets of Rio the first day.
The streets of Rio de Janeiro.
Is that a song? You just make that up.
Well, it's the streets of Philadelphia. Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, you just switched it. Okay.
Just switch it to Rio de Janeiro.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
So I'm walking down the streets first day.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good. Bruce impersonation.
I thought it was a decent Bruce.
Yeah, it was. Bruce, not a great singer.
I told you.
Yeah, it's just not a great. I mean, good songwriter, I guess. Yeah, good performer. The voice is not special.
Not great. Well, he's also 75 or whatever.
Yeah, but in general,
I agree.
just have never been blown away. Like, what a voice.
I agree.
So I'm walking down the streets of Rio de Janeiro.
Heads are freaking out. Oh, remind me. I watched a movie that I hadn't seen in 20 years.
That is the most James statement ever.
About Brazil. It takes place in Brazil.
Okay.
Yes, we'll get to that. I'll add it to my final thought.
I'm excited.
It is a great movie.
Yeah. So I'm in Rio, walking down the street with Kristen. Someone comes up to me. They're like, Elliot, how's Vicky?
No way.
No, of course not.
Oh!
Kidding. What are you kidding? What are you? I should have run with it. Yeah. But then I got to Sao Paulo in the elevator. Elliot.
Hey, Vicky.
How's Vicky? And here's the great thing I've been able to say about Vicky. She's great. You want to know why she's great? She's doing awesome. Her house has the most beautiful windows.
Here's how she's doing. She's great.
I was riding the elevator up and down, telling the whole story to this guy, as we talked about Window Nation and the great experience that Vicky had. And it's not surprising because Vicky is just one of the many that have an outstanding experience at Window Nation. And that is why they have, you've heard it before, it's still unbelievable, 33,000 5-star reviews. I would kill for 33,000 5-star reviews on the pod. Someone leave us a 5-star review. That would make me feel good.
It would make Elliot so happy.
It really would.
It really would.
But that's because Window Nation, why they get all these reviews, is that they're all about value. And as always, you always know they have great deals. You know, financing, the buy two, get two, unlimited windows, all those things. No matter when you go to Window Nation, you know they're going to have a great deal. But more importantly, you know you're going to get great service. You can get great deals. You can get, specials, which I love taking advantage of for sure.
Big specials.
But ultimately, you need to know when it comes to your house that the people are going to come, they're going to install it correct, and they're going to install it correct the first time. And Window Nation does that. I've had experience with people that have had Window Nation. They always enjoy it. And there's just no peace of mind like knowing your house is okay.
Oh,
we can talk about money and deals and all that, but ultimately, you want to spend and get good products.
So those who've listened for a long time to this pod, the real ones, the auto downloaders, they'll know this. If you're new to the pod, Elliot's second biggest fear is blue whales. Second biggest fear is weather, particularly rain, was all because of house issues.
Yes, like that's where the rain fear came from.
Your second biggest fear is strictly a house-related fear. So
there is no better place, no more frustrating, but also no more better place to spend money on than your house. And if you're going to spend money, you should call Window Nation because they were recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. So you know you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com and tell them from the streets of Brazil.
Yes.
Elliot sent you.
That's right.
I told a few people to call into the show on Saturday and say like, Bob from Brazil. Sketch from Brazil.
Well, we shouted out Antonio.
We did. Yes. We did get that.
I seeded.
Okay, cool. I'm glad.
So I wanted to save my my movie thoughts for you because I was like, I can't do that. My decade things. I was like, that's we're doing it together. I need your I've never heard of that movie or whatever you're going to say to me. And it's feel real.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm going to seed my final thought on the solo pod to Antonio. And I let him do the final.
And I heard the recording. It was
pretty cool.
And again, it was so cool meeting so many people over there.
Well, it was neat. Like you talked about just the concept of like, you're a Brazilian and you're an Eagles fan. Like, what an unbelievable thing to have the Eagles come to you.
I keep watching back videos. There's a moment in the game, and I don't know if it came across on TV. It was probably in the third quarter, where every single person in the stadium started singing this like beautiful Brazilian. It was
magic.
Dude, I mean, it's the only way to describe it. It was like,
I will say, here's what I'm going to say. I feel like you came back much more like in love with the experience than I expected.
Yeah, dude,
like you really had a magical
I was talking to a lot of people. It was the coolest thing I've. I mean, 2017 because they won the Super Bowl will always be like my number one. Tell a story about your career. But Brazil is definitely number 2. Like I thought Brazil was cooler than now they lost it, but the 2022 Super Bowl.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man. I wish you could have been there.
I could tell from the way you're talking. Like you're really effusive.
The people that were there, I think, truly have an experience that like they will be able to cherish.
That's awesome.
And the players too. Like I thought Nick really came across like every player that stepped to that podium afterwards were like smiling, especially when this too. I got to give the Brazilian reporters credit. They weren't just asking basic, like they were asking
football questions.
Yeah, like straight up. Like
now, the only thing I'll say with that though is it did feel like they were so negative going in that it was like Roger Goodell saying, "Hey guys,
well, I thought they did.
Hey Eagles, rein it in, boys."
Yeah, that's I agree with that for sure.
Where it was like afterwards, they're like, "This is great."
100%. I do. But I do genuinely think from just seeing the look on their faces, the players really enjoyed the experience after going through it.
All right, we're going to get to the defenses like real quick though, because to that point, I will say, and I'm happy. It seems like everyone was there at a good time and look, it went off. I do think for the NFL, and I don't know if they care or not, I do think it was an embarrassment. The field, the flags, the whole the actual product itself of the game itself was a horrible watch. Because
we're going to disagree on this.
Well, you were there. Like, but I'm telling you,
I can't speak to the same way.
Like
as
the
watching
field
it
was
TV.
A disgrace.
The field was bad.
To have your first South American game for Friday night, open the season, And for that field, I mean, that's a disgrace.
I don't get how hard it is to get a good field.
That's what I mean. Like,
Obviously, I'm no expert on
there's weather
grass,
and there's
but
like, really, we can't do
I'm
better than
stunned
this.
by it.
So I think that was a disgrace. And the flags, like, it was just a bad product. And I do think it was even on both sides. Like, I don't think one team.
No, they did score a ton of points. It was a close game. Like, I think
no. I think it was an
enjoyable.
entertaining game.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other stuff, the accompanying stuff, I think was a problem.
Yeah, the field. It's surprising. It is surprising to me.
Pick those games where a certain crew is overzealous.
It's just surprising to me.
The field was a disgrace.
Yeah, again and again, big game after big game.
Do you want to? I was not psyched about it.
And I think this field was definitely worse.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt. All right, let's get to the defense. I think on the whole, and we talked about this Friday night, I think people should be happy.
I left feeling very good about
really good. I mean, again, I think the defense holding them 6 points, those first two fumble and the
won them the game.
I think it's the single thing that you can point to and be like, if it's 10-0, if it's 14-0, I don't think they win.
Yeah.
So I think that was huge. But we'll get to the backside and the Zach Bond of it all and all that. But like the biggest concern, to your point earlier in the pod, my biggest concern going into the season overall was the pass rush. And again, the field caveat,
right?
It was bad.
It was bad.
Pass
rush was bad. Now, I will say, rewatching it, I thought a few players came off better than I felt.
It felt like
Josh Sweat, I thought, won his matchup a decent amount.
It felt like Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham
for
solid,
sure.
And I think Jalen Carter had a good game. But outside of that, it was bad.
Moro Jamo had a really big snap. I thought Milton Williams had. So I don't think it was as bad rewatching it.
It's really Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff are our problem, which is what we came into the season saying.
Right.
And Jordan Davis. For sure.
Those are three of the most important players.
Those are the three that when we came in with our issues about the team and the pass rush, we're like, Josh Sweat, can he get better or whatever? But I wasn't like freaking out about Josh Sweat. Brandon Graham is what it is. We all felt good about
He's been way better, I think, than we could have expected.
Big time. Jalen Carter, we expected to be great. It's those three guys we were worried about, and those three guys were not good.
100%. Now, I don't think he'll mind this, but Corey from Columbus sent me a text that I thought was a really good point. And I'm sure he'll say it on air, so I feel fine saying it. But in the first two games, remember when Hassan...
It's so funny if you get a text from Corey.
I know. How dare you betray my... Yeah. But it's a smart point, so I want to give him credit for it. First two games of Hassan Reddick's career, remember? No pressures, no sacks.
Corey,
what's going on? Right? So now I will say,
and again, the field, especially
the field's part of it.
Talk about Bryce Huff being a speed on the edge, power type guy. And I can't freak out too much.
Now, to be fair, we have to flip it then and say the Packers didn't get any pressure either.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe this offensive line that the field just neutralized the pass.
All this. It's at least the discussion of it. Or that's not true. It doesn't mitigate the discussion. It mitigates.
It's a part of the discussion.
Well, it's clearly a part of the discussion. My point is it mitigates making any sweeping declarations about it. It's hard to feel like what you saw is going to translate to a normal field.
Yeah, now
no, it might, but it might not.
Now you look ahead to the Falcons. They have one really good tackle in Jake Matthews. They have one really good guard in Lindstrom. But outside of that, they don't have a good offensive line.
And you're going to be healthy. I know he got hurt in that game.
I don't know. Maybe
I'll look it up.
Okay, but regardless, they don't have a great.
He just left the field.
They don't have a ton of talent in that offensive line. They were oddly enough fourth last year in pass blocking on Pro Football Focus, which I was surprised by. But regardless,
that also, by the way, could be they were just trying to get the ball out.
Yeah,
quick,
it could.
Bad quarterbacks, all that stuff.
But I guess the point I'm making is, much like Jalen Hurts, there can only be so many games where we leave and make an excuse for the pass rush.
Lindstrom's fine, by the way.
Okay. The concern I had from watching Bryce Huff was not, because again, wet field, all that. I just didn't see any plays where he was close or any plays where he stood out.
Even Nolan Smith, it felt like got close on a play.
Yeah, I thought Nolan got around
in the back,
got around the bend a little. Yeah, the edge. Yeah, but I didn't see anything from Bryce Huff.
He was about as invisible for a big signing guy. He was about as invisible as I ever remember.
Now, here's the counter I said to Corey about the Hassan Reddick thing, and I think it is true, obviously, because I said it. But, I think I made a great point. Let me cite myself. That I agree with.
Repeat the point that I agree with because I said it.
Exactly.
Yes.
The Eagles are telling us how they feel about him. He played less than Brandon Graham and less than Nolan Smith.
Now
Nick Sirianni can say the game expresses itself, and that's all true. That's fine within 4 or 5 snaps. But ultimately, he's you can make sure guys are out there.
It wasn't like you're up 20 points. It's like, oh, he didn't get a lot of snaps.
Exactly.
You had meaningful defensive snaps at the end of the game, and
he was not out there. And so that's either A, poor coaching. If you actually think he's your best edge rusher, then you have to make sure he's out there.
It's pretty clear they don't think
that. Yeah,
right now.
That's my point I'm making, that we can say how we feel about it. The Eagles and Vic Fangio clearly don't. And here's a question I have for you that I've been thinking about a lot. Where was the communication between the front office and Vic Fangio here? Bryce Huff Fangio doesn't seem to like him. He doesn't play him a ton of snaps. He played him in the preseason. He said flat out he can't play the run. Devin White, who knows what's going on there? Like, now you can say maybe he had a really bad camp, and so you have to move on from him. But you were so you had so much conviction about a free agent that you signed him early on, and then one camp, you're like, oh, nope, forget that. I don't know. It felt like on offense, the guys they signed, they had plans for. Saquon was awesome right away. Becton, they moved to guard, and he had a really good first game. Like, where are the guys on Zach Bond is an example
but
of it.
They had guys. Yeah, Zach Bond, CJ GJ, Quinyon Mitchell, all new guys who played.
But Quinyon's a draft pick, but that's a fair point.
But the point being that Vic was
like Bryce Huff was your priority free agent signing on defense, and you could argue Devin White was your second most important free agent signing on defense. Would you agree? Like I think at the time,
I mean, clearly it's Zach Bond. But
yeah,
I get what you mean.
at the time,
you got more money.
I'm almost positive Devin White did.
But
after
Bond got 2 years though, right? Or is it 1 year?
So I think Bond got. I forget on honestly. I think Zach Bond got Devin White got $3.5 million. I forget what.
Yeah, I know Devin White got $3.5 million. I just don't know what Bond.
Yeah, I think Bond wasn't far off Tucker. Would you mind looking up how much?
And if he got more than 1 year, because I'm intrigued, because maybe them giving Bond multiple years.
I think he only got 1 year.
Okay,
for what it's worth.
So look, I don't know. And look, maybe Vic Fangio did like them on tape, and he gets them in his room, and he's like, oh, this Bryce Huff guy doesn't have the same attitude.
Right.
I thought there could be multiple.
There could be other things, but like, bro, you got to give him a game. Like
right. And it might though. I mean, it's just one game.
But like less snaps than Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith. Like that's wild.
Imagine trying to win a game in the moment.
But imagine
the guys who are playing best. Like if Bryce Huff isn't playing.
Imagine if Kenny Gainwell got more snaps.
But again, if Kenny Gainwell work, that wouldn't happen because Saquon's better.
But that should be the case with Huff, is the point I'm making.
He's not. That's okay.
But then that's a problem.
Oh, of course it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But my point is, I don't think it's a Vic Fangio problem. I actually appreciate that Vic Fangio
now,
is playing the guys who we think is the best players. How many freaking annoying Taiwan Walker? How much freaking time have we spent going like, I can't believe they roll him out there? Well, they paid him $72 million. That's why he's out there. Trey Turner is the shortstop of the Phillies, not because he's the best defensive shortstop. It's because they paid him $300 million. We see this in sports all we paid that guy. Like, I love that Vic Fangio's like, you got to earn it on the field. I don't care what you make. Brandon Graham's 10,000 years old and he's going to play more than you because you're not good enough. Like, I freaking love that.
So I holistically, over a long period of time, agree with you. Like Taiwan, nobody was saying after one start bench him, right? Like,
but again, hold on. He didn't get benched. He played one less snap than Nolan Smith. He
but
played two less snaps than Brandon Graham. I agree it matters, but they rotate guys. It's not like it was like Brandon Graham played 35 snaps and Bryce Huff played 20 or 15. They played 32, 31, and 30. Like, so he was just using them.
But I'm saying, think about how it is now versus what we expected.
But I'm saying it's different than if it's like a wide receiver not playing. Like, we know that the snaps are gonna be kind of similar to begin with all those guys. Like they're gonna mix them in and out.
I'm just saying, if when they signed Bryce Huff and brought Brandon Graham back, I told you in week one,
course,
you would be like, did Bryce Huff get hurt?
I know, but I agree with you that it's a problem. And I there's no question. Again, I think it was one of the worst debuts I remember for a high price free agent type of signing. Like, it was horrible. But that I'm happy that Vic Fangio is playing who he thinks is the best player.
I'm
like,
fine with,
it's a Vic call. Like, I don't like that Bryce Huff can't get on the field with Vic. And again, he got on the field 30 times, 31, 32. Like, I think we're making it seem like it's,
but I think it's
drastic.
No, but I think it's noteworthy that it was close.
Of
the
course,
fact that it was even close to
but
me
I think we should
is
this
drastic.
Coming. Vic Fangio told us 2 weeks ago that Bryce Huff wasn't ready to play every down.
Yeah, but so I guess my question for you is, I agree with you. The best player should play, and I am happy that they have a coach that is doing that. But I think that's different after week 7 than it is in the first game where you gave this guy all this money. Like, you got to give him a shot.
And he's not getting it done. We said it.
Yeah, but you had enough conviction in him to give him $30 million guaranteed.
Howie Roseman did.
Well, this is the point I'm making.
Again, it is what it is. They had to win a football game. Like, would you rather Vic Fangio in that moment? He's looking at the field and he's going, "Wow, Nolan Smith's playing better than Bryce Huff." But you know what? We paid Bryce Huff, so we should put him out there. Of course not.
No, but there's
asinine.
But no, I don't think it's completely asinine because you're viewing it as like giving him money. I'm viewing it as they believed in this guy. They thought he was a great player, and they've.
But Vic Fangio is watching what's happening on the field and saying that guy's playing better than that guy. Wouldn't you want him to play the guy who's playing better?
But give the guy that you recruited.
He got 30 snaps, 30 out of 40 something.
But he should have been getting 15 more snaps in both those guys. Don't you like? Right?
If he were earned it,
but you got to give him time to work through it.
But
is the point I'm making.
Not necessarily. Again, he's had all of training camp to watch these guys. Clearly, Bryce Huff has not stepped up enough to make Vic Fangio feel like he deserves to play him. He's clearly not been good enough against the run to be on the field in those situations.
Right, but this is my issue: is that when you sign Devin White and Bryce Huff, you believe in them. You're like, these are guys we watch.
You signed them before training camp.
No, I know, but hold on. Let me finish. You sign both of them with conviction. You like them. You recruit them. You tell them you like them. You tell them what they're going to do. And then halfway through the first game, and for Devin White, not even into the first game, it's like, okay, never mind.
Well, Devin White had an injury, right?
Right.
So who knows?
Who knows? But we'll see. But the point I'm making is, while I definitely agree with you, the best players should play regardless of money. I think you are correct about that, and I'm happy they're doing it. I just think there should be a little grace period of, you gave this guy $30 million. Let's at least for one game give him the most snaps and see if he can work through it.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, that's where we disagree.
And I think he'll get more snaps moving forward. I think he has to earn that. And again,
I'm not sure he will.
He might not. But the point is, in the moment, he got 30 snaps. It's not like he got 2. Like, he was on the field with opportunities to do things, and he did nothing. Like, Vic Fangio is watching him out there get stuck on tackles. Why would you put that guy out there when Brandon Graham's getting around when you're trying to win a football game?
Because you signed him and gave him a ton of money.
I don't care. I'm trying to win a football game. This is crazy.
Right,
what are you talking about?
But like, put yourself in this situation, right? And it's not apples to apples because the jobs are unique. But like, let's say you got signed to a new radio station, or like when you went to the morning show and you had like a bad first half of the show, and they were like, "Whoa, never mind."
You're because there's only 17 games. Like, we do shows every day.
I get that, but the point I'm making
it'd be like if I had a bad first month comparatively, if we're talking about a year, or a bad first 2 weeks or whatever.
But I guess the point I'm making is,
you understand?
But when a place signed you,
it'd be like if it were baseball, it'd be like after 10 games instead of 1 game.
The point I'm making is, when you got hired by that place and they paid you money, it was because you went there A and they signed you B because they believed in you.
But it's a meritocracy. It doesn't matter. Like, yes,
but there's something to be said for sticking with somebody.
It's 1 game and he played 30 snaps.
Right, but he should have.
Like, he didn't play.
No, I know, but he should have. But the point I'm making is, like, the Devin White thing. It sounds like he's apparently benched. Like,
dude, like, again, they went through.
Where's the conviction in who you signed?
I think this is a stupid point.
I
no
disagree.
offense. I think it's a really stupid point. I get what you're saying, but like, it's about winning football games in the moment. They had all of training camp to see what Bryce Huff can do. They've spent all of training camp doing with it. You got to be
Would
better.
You be okay benching Saquon or Jalen?
But they were good. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, Bryce Huff stunk.
No, I get that.
There.
But you bring up, it's a small sample size.
He's gonna play. He got 30 snaps. It's not like he didn't play.
But he should have played more than the other edge.
No, he shouldn't have. Not if he's not better than them.
And it was a bad signing.
Of course.
Okay.
We all agree on that. Right now,
so
it
we're
looks
all
like a bad signing right now. But like, we still have a whole season to go.
But
I'm not going to say on that field, in that situation, it's a bad signing already. But yeah, I thought I'm not bullish on Bryce Huff at all.
Okay. So
I'm very nervous about Bryce Huff's future.
Yeah, and I wish they wouldn't throw up the red flag with him.
I don't think they are. They are. They
clearly are.
Dude, it was the first game of the season, and he's not ready to play against the run. Like, they knew that when they signed him.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, when they signed him, we all thought he was going to be getting the most snaps as the premier edge rusher, and that's not the case. So it's like, if you want to say it's because he's not ready, fine, I'm good with that. But then there's also something about sticking with a guy like a Devin White, like a Bryce Huff, that you recruit early in free agency and you tell them you have a role for them. And then all of a sudden, because of a bad camp, you're like, well, the best players play.
But no. It wasn't just a bad camp. He stunk in the game, man. He couldn't get off blocks. He had no pressure. Like, if you're Vic Fangio and you're watching the first half and this guy can't get off blocks, why would you keep him in there?
Because he's in theory a guy that you believe is capable of doing it.
You've got the whole season to do that. Right now, you have to win a football game in the moment. You're playing in a super. We talked about being the most important opening game we remembered.
Right. But I'm just saying, ultimately, I hope they stick with these guys, because I think it'd be silly after making them priority free agents to give up on them so quickly.
Well, I don't think they're giving up on Bryce Huff. He played 30 snaps. You're acting like he didn't play in a football game. He played
less than Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham.
Yeah, but they all played
But that's not how we thought it. We were talking about Brandon Graham playing 5 snaps a game.
But again, this is on Bryce Huff. Be better, dude.
Yes, but I agree with that. But it is also about the Eagles, in my opinion, giving this guy enough snaps to work through it.
30 snaps is not enough to show something on the field. What are you talking about?
I'm saying that the fact that Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith played,
but it's I get it. If it was 35 and 15, they played 2 and 1 more snap than him. They basically all played the same for all intents.
Yes, they all played the same.
They all played the same.
But the point I'm making is, when it shouldn't have been like that.
To be like, he's not good enough. What do you want it to be?
But then I just don't
think Vic Fangio looks at it and says, I don't think you're good enough today to play more snaps. You think you should play him anyway?
Yes. Yes,
that's
because
dumb.
because I think there's something about obviously when they signed him, they thought he was good enough. Otherwise, they wouldn't have paid him.
Right.
Correct.
But again, people make bad signings all the time. I'm not saying there's going to be one, but you make bad signings all the time. You have to be smart enough as a coaching staff to pivot off things when they don't work.
But there's also something.
Like, sometimes you see a guy and you're like, crap, you don't have it right now. Maybe we can coach him to the point where he can be on the field in these situations. But right now, he's not good enough to be on the field in these situations. Yeah, they probably shouldn't have signed him if that's the case. But that's where they're at. Would you rather they lose a game because they put a guy out there who's not ready for it just because you paid him?
What I'm saying is there's something to be said for sticking with the guy through his struggles, right? Like in baseball, you don't bench guys right away.
Dude, he got 30 snaps.
But he should have gotten like 50 based off when they signed him. Yeah, yes, and this is
what they signed him for. Do you not
but
understand?
It matters. It matters what
he's getting a chance. It's not like he did. It's not like it's like, wow, they only gave him 5 snaps. How's he supposed to prove anything with 5 snaps? He had 30 snaps.
I agree with that. And we're just not going to
I think you're crazy. Like,
and I think you're also crazy. Like, we disagree on this. I think if you sign somebody the first minute of free agency for a ton of money, you should give him the opportunity he was promised to go out there. He's not playing well. That's different.
Camp. He had all of training camp and he sucked in the first game and he didn't get if he was getting, I guarantee you, in the first half, if he was getting to the quarterback, he would have played 50 snaps or 40 snaps or whatever.
So you are.
But the point is he didn't.
Right. And so
just keep knocking your head
he's a guy you believed enough and give $30 million to or whatever it was. And then because of a bad training camp and a bad first 2 quarters, it's like, well, maybe he doesn't have it.
It's that they gave him 30 snaps instead of 40. It's not like they gave him 5. You're acting like he didn't play.
It's not so much about the exact snap count. It's about that he played less than. Yeah, but it's about he played less than Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith. That's not a mistake. That's not the way the game expressed itself. That's what they wanted.
Well, first and foremost, I don't think Vic Fangio is going, all right, what's my snap count out? Let me get him out there. Like, I think he has a general idea of where people are at, but I don't think he's like being like, oh, I got to make sure it's even, or I got to make sure like Bryce gets more. I think he's saying, hey, that guy's not doing as well. Let me put that guy in now. Oh, nice play. Say it. This, that. Oh, this is.
I don't think it's as micro as that, but I do think there is a level of, hey, we need Bryce out there because he's our best rusher. And they don't feel that. Right. That's what I'm saying.
But he's not.
The fact that
Elliot, you have to live in the moment and be real with what you're seeing.
But there is a living in the moment, but there's also like keeping conviction in what you believed in when you signed somebody.
Is the
but
whole
game
season
one's no, I'm not. That's why I think you're acting like game one's the whole season by saying you have to play the best players.
No.
Yes.
No. My point is that you still have a whole season in front of you. Bryce Huff can earn more playing time. He can play more. He can get an opportunity to get what you're asking for. But I'm not going to lose a football game just to play a guy because I paid him.
Well, but also let's not act like Nolan Smith. Like Nolan Smith has some fine snaps, but like regardless, and we can move on from this. I'm just saying there is something to be said for showing conviction in the guy you pay money to, as opposed to a knee-jerk reaction of like.
Again, I think you're acting like it was a knee-jerk reaction. He got 30 snaps. Like if Vic Fangio told us going in, he wasn't ready to play the run. Like that's what he wanted to do. Like
I want, and Devin White's tied into this. I want them to show conviction in the free agents they signed. That's what I want. That's what I want. I mean, again, you cannot want it, but I'm saying.
I'm not saying that there's a problem with showing conviction. I'm just saying you don't show conviction at the expense of play. Like it's
but that's exactly what showing conviction is. It's sticking through somebody through their hard times,
bro.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Dumb,
no, it's not.
It's like a football team. It's about winning football.
All right.
Games.
What about when
when
a hitter's struggling in baseball, right? Where do you fall?
Baseball is 160.
But we're talking about sticking with somebody you believed in through struggles. That's what we're essentially talking about.
No, but here's my thing. Like, it's one game and he played 30 snaps. I don't think they have not stick with him. Like, he played 30 snaps.
He played less than Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith. That's the headline here.
Less than he
played because he should have played way more. He should have played way more.
He shouldn't have. He's not good enough to play more.
Then that's the problem. At the core, that's a problem.
I just don't. I think this is silly. Like, I think you're not making much sense. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, I get your conviction thing, but like, you've got a whole season to show conviction. Like, what happens in the first game doesn't mean
showing conviction is the first game is exactly where you show conviction.
No, dude, if Bryce Huff isn't ready to do what they need him to do, you build him up, they coach him up, they signed him as a somewhat raw product. Like, he's someone who openly, when they signed him, they said, yeah, he can't play the run right now. We're working on it.
Right.
So work on it. He's not ready for it in the first game. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be ready for it later.
Yes, maybe he improves as the season goes on. I would like to see them play him more. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if they truly, they thought enough of him to give him the first minute of free agent, $30 million. And now all of a sudden it's like he's a project.
If he's not making plays on the field, would you keep him on the field? That's what you're saying. You're saying if he stinks.
Yes, for the first game.
And there's, I think
much like I would have kept. You would
lose games because of this.
But I don't think you're going to lose because of it.
But you could have.
But I didn't talk about benching Jalen. He had a turnover in the first two series of the game.
We're talking about the difference between Bryce Huff as a football player and Brandon Graham as a football player is very different than Jalen Hurts and a backup quarterback. Like,
apparently not. Brandon Graham played more than Bryce Huff.
No, that's my point.
Yeah,
I'm saying they're similar. Like,
but they shouldn't be. Brandon Graham is about to retire. Bryce Huff is supposed to be the premier edge rusher.
$14 million last year. He made $3 million.
He's a great player. I'm not.
But my point is, last year Brandon Graham made I guess 2 years ago, Brandon Graham made $3 million less than. Like, we're acting like $17 million is like, it's a lot for the offseason they gave it, but it's not like it's an elite edge rusher.
Agreed. It's not top 10
it's
or
not
whatever.
Top 5.
Yes.
It's not top 10. It's not top 15. You know what I mean? So, like, I think they signed him because they thought he could get to the quarterback. He's not a finished product, is the way it is.
That's concerning.
Of course.
Yes,
I didn't love this. I've never liked the signing. I never thought it was a good signing. And the first
they should trade for Hassan Reddick. In all seriousness.
No, I'm out on Reddick. The guy hasn't shown up.
Yeah. He'll show up here, I bet.
I'm out on it.
They need an edge rusher. If this is where they're at, they need an edge rusher.
They might. Again, the field makes it hard.
Yeah, we'll find out in week 2.
All right.
If they plan.
What else? You got anything else today?
No, I feel like that was
good.
That was where I wanted mine.
Yeah. So we could yell about Bryce Huff and conviction.
Yeah.
That was good.
I'd like to see them, like, if they bench Devin White, I'm going to be very disappointed. And I thought Nakobe was awesome.
But Devin White lost the job.
Because we're just going to get back into it. But when you sign, all right, so
I get your point,
I know.
But, like, do you really? This is a basic thing. If you sign someone for more money than another guy, but the other guy outplays him, you think the guy who made more money should play?
That's not how.
Because that's what we're talking about.
It. No.
But again, that's what happened, right? In training camp, Nakobe Dean outplayed Devin White, according to the coaches.
Yeah,
that's what they said.
Well, this is what we think.
Right. This is what has been reported whatever. So if that's the case, do you think that Devin White should play or should Nakobe Dean play?
So hold on, but that's not how I view it. How I view it is this: when they signed Devin White, they said to him, we believe in you. We want you to come here. You can start, like, all these things. And then to pull the rug out under him from a bad training camp.
The job.
Right, but
crazy.
No, but
that you don't give jobs away.
But it's not about
you
giving
sign guys and they come in and they earn it.
It's not about giving a job away. It's about when you believe in somebody enough to sign them, you should stick with them.
But they believed in Nolan Smith enough to use a first-round pick on him.
And he played 30 snaps.
Right. That's my point.
Yes.
Right. So someone's not going to play.
Yes.
Whether it's Huff or whether it's him or whether it's Josh Sweat or whether it's Brandon Graham, it's a meritocracy. Whoever plays best gets out there.
I'm fine with a meritocracy over a stretch. I'm not fine with a meritocracy instantly right away.
But you're Mr. Training Camp.
Yes.
You can't talk about
training camp matters. I agree.
So if it matters, we're not talking about game one right away. There have been 3 months or 2 months or whatever of these guys being in their building and them knowing what they're getting out of it. So that influences what they do on week one, right?
Yes,
so, like,
it is part of it.
About?
It is part of it. But again, when you sign a free agent and you show a commitment to them,
dumb. What do you mean?
I disagree.
Like, people make bad signings all the time. Every year there's a guy. Eric Wilson got cut before camp.
I don't think you would welcome this logic in, like, our own lives. Like, the logic of, like,
but this is a football team. There's a meritocracy. Sadly, most
everything's a meritocracy in a way.
Wrong. Most things are not.
Okay, well,
they're not. There's freaking Nepo. There's this. There's
that.
There's a million things, but it's not.
Like, but that matters in football too. But there are those things in football as well.
True meritocracies in this world.
In football, it's not a true meritocracy.
But it's closer. In football, it's closer.
I don't know about that.
Like, yes, if you get a first-round pick, you're going to have more chances of a seventh-round pick. There's going to be some. It's not always.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, if you stink on a football field, you're not going to be on a football field. And that is a meritocracy.
But it's also similar with other jobs. If you stink at your job for a long stretch,
there are millions of, like, dude, there are so many jobs where it takes years to get fired. There's all kinds of things.
Of
course. In a football field, if you're not good enough, you're not going to play.
But and I agree with you on that. Over a long stretch, we're talking about one game here. We're talking about training camp in one game.
Training camp.
Yes, training camp in one game.
Training camp matter?
Yes, it matters. Absolutely.
So hold up. Then
it matters.
You can't say that what they do. Obviously, what happened in training camp, they might have signed Devin Whiteman, like, we like you from afar. We like you. He comes in for whatever reason, whether it's off the field, on the field, whatever. They're like, you know what? We think that Nakobe Dean gives a better chance to win. We believe in him more than you. Like, what, they should have played Devin White anyway, even though if they don't believe that, like, I don't understand your point.
What I'm saying is, like, okay, if you get to weeks 3, 4, 5, and the guy's still struggling,
so training camp doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. It does absolutely matter.
Okay, so then he won the job in training camp.
It's information.
Bryce Huff was clearly not good enough in training camp, where in week 1 they felt like he should play 70% of the
training camp matters. Absolutely.
Okay, so either it does or it doesn't.
No, it does. It absolutely matters. But what I'm saying is, I would not make with a priority free agent off of training camp. I would not bench him.
I think they played him 30 snaps.
Well, I'm talking about Devin White here. But
okay, well, Devin White, the injury,
Yeah,
who the hell
right,
knows?
right. We'll
the
see.
point is, I think he would have played if you were on the team. He just wouldn't play as much
Right.
as the other guys. They didn't bench him. You're making it seem like he wouldn't have played, you know?
I don't know. We would have seen, and we'll find out in week 2 if he's healthy.
Played. He just
Bryce Huff
didn't do
played.
anything.
He just didn't play nearly as much as we all thought.
Good. He didn't do anything when he played.
Okay.
You know, that's
But
the point. buddy.
I would
and
like.
he didn't play because he had a bad training camp, which is according to you,
Yes, and it
super
matters.
important.
It matters, but it also is about like, and again, we're going in circles, like showing conviction in who you sign. It is. It's about showing conviction in who you sign.
Again, they you know how they show conviction? By giving you $17 million a year. That's conviction. They paid him. Like, you have to come in and earn that contract.
Yes.
It's like any sport. Like, again, there is not one of the things that I think is the biggest problems in sports is when a guy plays because of a contract and there is someone who's better than him, a team, especially that's trying to win. Like, they play like a Taiwan Walker over, and now the Phillies are in a weird spot because they don't really have any good stars. But like the fact that if you tell me that Bryce Huff is here and Nolan Smith is here and one guy got paid this and the other got paid this, I don't care. I don't care if Nolan Smith were a 7th round pick. If he's better than Bryce Huff, I want him to play over Bryce Huff. End of story. Like, that's like,
and I don't disagree with you on that.
But you do. You're saying you should give more time to Bryce Huff.
But I'm saying
and pay
there's
the money.
something to be said for sticking with a guy to allow him to be the player you believed he could be, instead of being like, well, you had a bad camp, like that's it.
30 snaps. You had a bad camp, 30 snaps. But you're acting like he didn't play. It's the fact that Graham and Smith played 2 and 1 more snap than him. That you're like, what a travesty. Like, well, but that's so silly.
But like going in, we didn't think it would be that close. So
who cares what we thought? We were wrong. We didn't think Zach. We thought Devin White was going to be their best linebacker, their main linebacker.
Right.
We were wrong.
Well,
we didn't know what they actually believed in that building. You know, because we're not there.
I'm saying, I hope that when they sign a guy and they give him that type of capital that shows they believe in him, I hope they give him a shot during the season to show it. That's all I'm saying.
He had 30 snaps. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. You're acting like he didn't play, man.
He did play, but he didn't play nearly as much as we all thought.
More than those guys.
I do.
I
care.
Earn it.
I care more.
All right.
I do.
Yeah. I think this is crazy. Honestly,
I agree.
I think it's one of your worst arguments.
I feel the same way. I'm saying, like, whatever. We can move on.
I fundamentally disagree. I just doesn't make sense to me. Like,
well,
honestly, it doesn't.
I think there's something to be said for believing in somebody.
Of course, you're believing in someone, but again, you bring him in and train. It doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
It's very soft, weird.
I actually think it's like a loyalty.
No, but the loyalty has no place. I mean, not no place, but like ultimately, like, you have to put the best players on the field.
Yes.
So what about the loyalty of Nolan Smith? Because you drafted him as a 1st round pick. Shouldn't he play?
Yes, and he played 30 snaps. Or 32
exactly,
or whatever.
Both played. Yes.
Right. But Nolan.
What about Brandon Graham, the Eagle, the all-time Eagle, most seasons ever? Shouldn't he play in his swan song year? Don't you owe it to Brandon? I mean, this is so dumb.
But it's different. It's different.
Of course it is. It's dumb. That's
but
what
you
I'm saying.
gave
It's a dumb way of looking at it.
I disagree.
Play the best players. Period.
Over a long
End
stretch, I agree with you. Over one game, like it seems like then how much did you really believe in him?
So dumb.
How much did you really believe in him?
Final thought. I can't do this.
I don't know what to tell you. Like we just disagree.
I think it's silly though. They played him. He played 30 snaps. Like, he sucked in them. What do you want?
Right.
Like, you want to lose a game? That's like saying guy out there.
That's like saying, well, Saquon played 2 quarters. Like,
no, it's not. Like, it's a
in
different
all
position.
seriousness, how would you have felt if Saquon had a bad camp and so they played Kenny Gainwell more snaps than Saquon? How would you have felt?
If I watched the game and Kenny Gainwell were kicking ass out there and Saquon wasn't, I would be fine.
But nobody on the edge rushers was killing.
Huff stunk, dude. He was the worst.
They all stunk.
He was the worst of all.
He was the worst of all.
Definitively.
Yes, but let's not act. I don't know if definitively.
He couldn't get off the block, man. I thought he's.
I mean, yeah.
Let's get to finals.
Okay.
This is like fundamentally disagree.
I know you disagree.
I hate it. I think it's such a bad take.
I don't.
I know you.
I think we would hope for this in our own lives.
No,
but
again, like, I would hope that there would be a meritocracy in the world.
There is meritocracy, but like, he earned the whatever. Okay.
No, they paid him the contract.
Yeah, because he earned the contract
off of 1 year.
I'm just saying,
dumb contract.
Okay. All right.
Most likely, it looks like a dumb contract.
We'll see. It could. Well, if they play him less than Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham, certainly
we hate it in the moment.
Yes.
But again, you would agree if he's not as good as those guys, he should play less than them.
Yeah, by week 4, 5, 6, I agree with you. By week 1, I want to see him get a shot to earn the contract.
He got 30 snaps. You're acting like he didn't play. Like, do something in your snaps. Make one freaking play.
Right.
One.
He shouldn't have played less than that.
Like, show me that you're on the football field one freaking time.
We just
like,
we
literally invisible out there.
All right. So why do you
invisible? Go ahead.
Right. Why do you think it's kind of wild to think about this? That the closer to the sun you get, the colder it gets. Like when I'm in an airplane and it says it's
Buddy,
like, you ready?
I don't think you're right about this.
No, well, when I'm in an airplane, it says the outside temperature and it's way colder when I'm on
Well,
the
you're
ground.
talking about like the atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm saying
is
it's just on a simple
I
level. It's
get
pretty
you. I
crazy
get
to
what you're
think
saying. I got
the
what you're
higher up you get, the colder it
Okay, I
gets
get what
when
you're saying.
you're getting
You
closer.
understand why though?
No, I mean I don't, but like I know there's a reason, but I'm just saying it's just kind of crazy to think the closer to the sun you get, the colder it
Yes,
gets.
if you go out to space, it's the coldest of all.
I just wild to think about. Like in what way would you be like, I'm closer to the radiator, it's colder here?
Sure.
It's just crazy to think about.
I guess.
Like I'm in the plane, it says it's negative
If you put it
10
in,
degrees
yeah.
outside. I get on the ground, it's 50 degrees, but I'm closer to the sun.
Okay.
Just on a
No, I
simple
get
level.
it. Yeah,
like
sure.
it's pretty wild to think about.
Very simple. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I'm sure there's a scientific reason, obviously, but like it's just crazy to think about.
Okay.
You would think it would get hotter up in the air. You would. And you're not under the clouds. So you would think even then it would get hotter. Do you agree?
No, I get it in simplistic terms. I get,
Yeah,
I
just
get
very simple level.
I get
It's
what you're
crazy
going
to
for.
think the closer you are to the sun, the colder it gets.
To a point.
Yeah, obviously if you're like, a mile from the sun, you're
Yeah,
dead.
well,
But like, but I'm saying
to a point. But yeah, I get your point.
it's crazy to think about.
Sure.
My favorite part is the argument that there is a scientific reason.
No, I know
what it
there.
is, but, like,
I
there
know
has-
there's
there
a
has to
reason,
be.
but just imagine saying to someone like a kid or me, like the
Like-
higher up you get,
Same thing, right?
the higher up
Kid
you
or me,
get,
same thing.
yeah, the higher up you get, the colder it gets. Like that's pretty wild because the sun
a
is
point,
high up.
yeah.
Yeah, to a point.
Okay.
I'd love to know the reason. Do you
Very
guys know
simple.
the reason?
I feel like I did at one point.
Is
or
it because like the
another.
ground like captures the heat or something like that? I feel like there's something with that.
To be honest, I don't know.
Right. So
Science by far.
there
my worst
obviously is a
subject.
reason.
Science by far my worst subject.
Yeah. there's
Tucker's
something
looking
crazy.
up
When
as
I
we
was
speak.
when I was in the plane, I was thinking about this.
I'm happy these thoughts are going through your head.
Yeah.
I do get it on a simplistic
Because
level.
the atmosphere is
I
thinner.
said that's why I said the
'Cause
atmosphere.
what is
That
it?
was my initial
The
thought.
atmosphere is thinner.
Yeah.
As air expands, its temperature drops.
Yeah.
So the atmosphere.
The atmosphere was my initial.
But then wouldn't
thought,
that
but
mean
then-
more heat would be up there if it was thinner?
No, because it's thinner. There's less atmosphere. So what's
Sorry,
there
I'm not gonna understand
expands.
this. Yeah.
And
Crazy
the
to think
temperature
about.
drops.
Yep. There it
Yeah.
is. See, that's what I was saying the whole time.
It's wild to think about.
Well, if you're in a crowded room, right? Like if there are
That's
a
a
lot of
good
people in a
point.
crowded
Yeah, it's
room, it gets
hotter.
hot. If
That's a
you're
good
in there by
point.
yourself,
Look at
cold.
talk. Look
So
at
you're
talk.
saying because there's less things up in the sky.
there's like less atmosphere.
Yes,
it's spread out and it's cold.
Yeah. That's interesting. Good job, Tucker.
Yeah.
Tucker
Devin White's
explained that
getting
really
paid
well.
$4 million, by the way.
$4 million.
You asked me that like 30 minutes ago.
Right.
How much
$4 million.
for Zach Vaughn?
No,
for-
Zach Vaughn was
No,
one
we
and a half.
asked Zach Vaughn. We knew Devin White was
Zach
three-
Vaughn was
three
one and a
half,
half.
four.
Yeah, Zach Vaughn was 1.5.
So less for Zach Vaughn. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess they don't believe him anymore, so it doesn't matter.
No, Zach Vaughn. They totally believe him.
No, I'm
He's
saying
their
Devin
go-to
White.
guy.
Yeah, they've just chalked him up. Yeah.
Again, it was an injury, right? Like that he didn't.
Well,
fly.
yeah. Well,
He also lost the job. Again, I don't care, but you can't come in here every year and say training camp's super important and then not go by
but
who
it
wins
does.
jobs
It
in
is.
training
It
camp.
is
Like,
super important. It's a piece of information.
but
it
if
is an
they,
important piece.
so
of
you
information.
think people should not be able to win jobs in training camp? Is that what you're saying?
No,
as someone who's
that's
missed
not
their
what
tra-
I'm saying. That's not what
Okay.
I'm saying that if they recruit a player, tell them they believe in that player, and then like give him a good amount of money,
And he gets.
that I
and-
think
and he
I
gets-
think he should have a longer rope.
and he gets
to-
outplayed in training camp. You think that he should get the job?
No, I think going into the season, then he should be on a tight leash.
Which
But-
is exactly what they did with Bryce Huff. They put him on a tight leash. He couldn't get off a block, and they're like, "All right, let's figure something else out for today."
I would like to see them like give the guy a chance to work through his struggles.
Mhm.
That's all. I'm
All
saying.
right. Have you ever seen the movie City of God?
Definitely not.
Should. Takes
Yeah.
place in Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro.
I mean, maybe I have, but I
the
don't think
City
I
of God. You were just in the City of God.
I was.
It's amazing. I just rewatched it this weekend for the first time in 20 years. Came out in 2003. It is a great, great movie. Super highly recommend. Subtitles, obviously, but it is about Brazil. Takes place in Brazil.
All right. I will watch it. Sorry, I
Character
need
from
to.
Sao Paulo. at
I
one
need to
point.
extend my parking, otherwise I'm gonna get it.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I apologize, but I just can't get another ticket after getting towed last week.
Yeah, well, that would be bad.
Yeah.
All right, so City of God, I highly recommend. Good movie. All right, let me get to back to my decades now. 'Cause
Okay.
I will get to my movie.
So these are the okay. Go ahead.
top fives. We're on to the 2010s, which is actually one of the hardest ones to do. Because I
Well, I
really
feel like
like
it's
this decade.
recent too. Like,
Well, there's just a lot of good movies. I mean, movies that won't make my list. I mean, like Parasite was great, Moonlight's great, Moneyball,
Moneyball was great.
great movie. Gone Girl, we're Gone Girl guys, right? Are you a Gone Girl fan?
I'm a Gone Girl guy.
Black Swan's a great movie.
Black Swan was very good. I saw
Great movie.
Black
Django
Swan in the
Unchained, a
theaters.
great movie. Grand Budapest Hotel, great movie. Wes Anderson. Ray Fiennes, one of the great performances of the 2000s. In
Many
that movie.
say.
Yes, but I'm pretty much the only one. So I'm going to give my top five. I said is my top five. So like it's not just the top, but I'm
Much like
trying
a Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Your
mine, but I'm trying to make it so that it's not like, how the hell did that movie get on there? Even if I love it the most.
Right.
So I'm going to give one shout out. Train to Busan would probably be on my personal top 5, but it's a Korean movie, zombie movie. Unbelievable. One of the best movies of the 2010s, without a doubt. Train to Busan is so freaking awesome. I loved it so much. I've seen it twice. Unbelievable movie.
All right.
But I'm really struggling with this top 5 because there are too many movies I want to put in it. So I've got it down to like 8, and I have to get some out. I'll give you the 8. I have Sicario, Mad Max Fury Road, Arrival, Whiplash, Get Out, Social Network, and Wolf of Wall Street. It's actually 7. I had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I saw Wolf of Wall Street,
but I'll knock it down. So I think I got my 5 as I say it. This is my personal 5. Here it is.
Okay.
No particular order.
All right.
Whiplash. Amazing movie.
Don't think I've seen it.
About the drummer? You didn't see it?
No.
You should watch. You would actually like Whiplash.
Miles Teller?
Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons.
Not a big Miles Teller guy.
It's fine. It's a great movie. You should watch Whiplash.
All right.
Great movie, Tucker.
It reminded me of my time in the high school band.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons there?
I was in the middle school band.
Was it dragging or?
I played the drums.
Did you
played
really?
the saxophone.
Yeah. Dragging or what's he say? It's dragging or anyway, you'll see it. By the way, that actually is one of my. Actually, I'm gonna save it. I have an all-time Elliot final thought.
Okay,
I'll save it for another time. All right. So Whiplash is there for me. Mad Max Fury Road there, unbelievable movie. Social Network there. I think it's Fincher's best movie.
It was very
great
good.
movie. Get Out there, unbelievable.
Get Out was good.
Get Out was great.
Yeah.
So those are 4 clear for me. I'll go Sicario. Sicario is a great movie. Super fun. Denis Villeneuve. I know you're a huge Denis Villeneuve.
I've always
guy.
have been. Always will be.
Big Denis Villeneuve guy. All right, those are my top 5. I'm really sorry to the movies that didn't make it.
I can tell.
It's crushing my soul to leave some of these movies.
I mean,
out.
just to get mentioned on the list.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. That's a good point.
Right.
Okay. All right, that's our Matt. Whiplash. If you've not seen Whiplash,
I mean, maybe I have. Let me look up the cover. Hold on.
Well, I think you'd remember it's the jazz drumming movie.
Whiplash.
It's a movie about jazz drumming.
I mean, obviously, it's not the one with Nick Cannon. I definitely have not seen this.
Drumline?
Yeah, Drumline.
You think Drumline was his favorite movie of the day?
You should watch Whiplash.
I didn't see Whiplash.
It's under 2 hours. It's a phenomenal movie.
Sure, it's good.
It doesn't seem like you believe me.
Nah, I mean, look. So I downloaded all these movies for the flight and didn't watch any of them.
I know you didn't.
Yeah.
So Inside Baseball, he texted me. He's like, "Oh, what?" It was a specific site that he had to
I had to use. Yeah.
And I went on and I gave him like 5 good options. He had all this criteria. I
ended up watching "I Love You, Man" on the screen, on like the screen of the laptop.
You were gonna watch Good Will Hunting. I was really excited for your thoughts on that.
Yeah,
that'll be in the running for the best movie of the '90s.
Can't wait.
Care.
Maybe I'll watch it.
All right,
I got a lot of travel going up. Atlanta.
How many snaps Bryce Huff gonna play?
Not enough.
There's something to be said for showing loyalty.
I hope it's 0.
I hope that.
I hope it gets 0. That's where I'm at now. I'm now anti Bryce Huff.
That's fine.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I'm pro loyalty.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I am pro loyalty too. I just not when it comes to playing football.
I just want to let you know.
Games.
I just want to let you know.
I'm pro winning games.
I will stick with both you guys. But Tucker, you should pay attention here as to who is going to pull the quick meritocracy card if you struggle.
When corporate steps in.
You know
exactly. Yeah.
You know what though? Here's the thing though. If you believe in yourself and your abilities, you want a meritocracy. Tucker knows how great he is.
I want a meritocracy, but I also want.
Doesn't seem like it. You're like you want to just hand out.
You act like I'm saying for years. I'm saying for the first game. For the first.
Hand out participation trophies along with. Here's $51 million and your participation trophy, Bryce. Thank you. Welcome, Phil.
I'm just gonna stop.
Congratulations.
If you give someone $50 million,
nice
it should show that.
Guess what? Why don't you go out there, run around a bit? Doesn't matter if you make a play.
I'm saying if I give Tucker,
we paid you, so we're
if I give Tucker $51 million,
do some laps,
and he messed up for a month straight, right? I would stick with him. That's what I'm saying. If I give him $51 million,
you gave me $51 million, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, Tucker, I'd
be out.
I would
be a bad signing.
Freak out on you if you. I would be like
a bad signing.
Bleep out. All right, we good?
Yeah,
this was fun. We need to yell at each other more. I feel like it's been a while since we really.
Went after it's a good topic.
It is good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Good.
All
it's
right.
like the. Yeah, well, we're good. It's a participation trophy.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
We'll be back later in the week. Parks Picks Pod. Finally together to pick games. We'll have to do a parlay. It'll be great.
A normal week.
Yes, a normal week.
They play
Monday night, so maybe not that normal, but we'll take it. All right. Until then, he's Item James.